Hey there, and welcome back to my channel. This week we're going to be doing my 12-week update, and we're going to be talking a little bit about calories and nutrition, what I've been doing, where I'm going. I'm going to refer to a study, one of many that I've read about the subject, and maybe give you some ideas about how you might adjust or not adjust your calories and nutrition. All of us have a different body. All of us have physiology that's going to be somewhat unique to our own journeys. So what I'm doing may not necessarily work for you, but I tend to be one that kind of plays the odds. I want to do what has been the most successful for most people that go through this journey and want to maximize my success. So we're going to be talking about a little bit about that and what I'm doing and what I think is probably a fairly decent road to go down. But again, your experience may be a little bit different, but I would recommend that you do some research, talk to your doctor, talk to your dietitian, and work out a plan that's best for you. So first things first, 12-week update. Where did I start? Well, I kind of consider my starting date July 2nd, 2020. And that's just because it's a convenient way in. It was 2 weeks prior to my operation. And on that day, I weighed 310.5 pounds. On the day of surgery, which was July 16th, 2020, I weighed 300 pounds when I went in for surgery. And today, 12 weeks later, I weigh 244. So, 56 pounds since surgery and 66.5 pounds since July 2nd, 2020. And what that effectively has done, as it has, and it's amazing to even say this, but it's essentially wiped off 20 years worth of fat from my body. I am the weight I was around 2000, 2001. And it's blowing my mind. And pretty soon, I'm going to be stepping in to the 1990s. And that even blows me away more. Now, don't get me wrong, I gained a lot of weight in the 90s. I got out of the Marine Corps in 1991. I did not take very much time after I got out of the Marine Corps to pack on some pounds, especially during the 4 years that I was in college from 91 to 95. Started packing things on in a big way. So there's still plenty of weight to go in the 90s, but the fact that I'm about ready to dip my toes in the water of the weight I was before this century totally blows me away, and I couldn't be much happier than that. The non-scale victories continue to happen. I'm cutting belts down, adding more holes. Clothes are getting looser and looser. I'm gonna have to go do some shopping because things are starting to look kind of ridiculous. Side-by-side photos, if you follow me on Instagram, which is RAD_VSG'd, VSG'd, I believe. Hopefully I got that right. I'll have a link down in the comments. But if you follow me on there, you might have seen this side-by-side picture of my face before surgery and after surgery. Sometimes I can't see the difference, but oftentimes it's these side-by-side pictures that really sort of make me understand that changes are happening. I'm not where I want to be yet, but I am well on my way, and I'm very, very happy with that. Also, another recent non-scale victory. When I started this journey, I was on 4 different blood pressure medications, and I just recently went down to 1. And I'm hoping that one's going to go away again soon. I'm off almost all of the prescription medications that I was on prior to surgery. They're almost all gone. And it's amazing, and I feel amazing. So as far as nutrition, calories go, so if you know me, if you've been following me for a while, if you follow me on any of the forums that I'm on, Facebook, AmericanBariatrics.org and things like that, you'll learn that I love research about this. And one of the only regrets I kind of still have about the past is that I didn't look into a lot of this stuff prior to the surgery. Sure, I've been on all kinds of diets. I've read some nutrition stuff and had a pretty good idea of what proper nutrition was. But I didn't look into it far enough. And if I had, maybe the surgery wouldn't have been necessary. Maybe it would have been. I don't really know. I'm not going to dwell on it a whole lot. But now I've kind of made it my mission to learn as much as possible as I can about post-surgery nutrition and just nutrition in general, regardless of surgery or not. I find it absolutely fascinating. So I read a lot of studies. I spend a lot of time on Google Scholar and also browsing other sites like different universities, obesity clinics, and things like that. There's some really, really great ones out there. One of the best is at the University of Michigan. Dr. Randy Seeley has some awesome work in this area, and so do a number of other doctors out there, but and also around the world, where a lot of these reports come from. And the one I'm referencing today, and that I'll have a link to down in the comments, actually came from South Korea, where they studied 200 bariatric patients. And they divided them up and looked at them as successful and unsuccessful. The successful group was the group of patients that achieved at least 50% of excess weight loss. And then the unsuccessful group was those that did not achieve at least 50% of their excess weight loss. And there were a lot of correlations between the amount of calories and the division of the macronutrients, the protein, fat, carbohydrates that the successful group ate or consumed versus the unsuccessful group. And it ties pretty closely into what my bariatric team wanted me to do post-surgery. And so the first thing I would recommend is that you listen to your doctor, dietitians, get the information of what they recommend to do post-surgery for your diet and follow that. And I think it's especially important those first 6 weeks to 8 weeks where you're healing, your body's adjusting, those kind of things. Follow those guidelines, but also take that time to really start educating yourself about these things and how you are going to be most successful in your long-term weight loss journey, because this is a long-term thing, right? We obviously want to lose weight as fast as we possibly can, but that's not always the best thing from what I've kind of discovered, and it's one of the things that often makes diets fail before weight loss surgery is losing weight too fast and your body thinks you're starving, fights against you, slows your metabolism, makes you hungrier. All of these things that make diet, especially fad diets, fail in that first year, or most of the time even less time than that. But then even with successful weight loss, the weight regain comes storming back, and a lot of that is for not making good food choices and doing things too fast and fighting a body system that is designed not to lose weight. And that's what we're fighting against, a physiology that doesn't want to lose weight. We're designed to protect our weight because, back our genetics are wired to our hunter-gatherer days in many ways still, where food just wasn't available down the road. But now we can get food at the grocery store, and it's really easy to eat more than we need to eat. And I really think that this study is a good one that kind of compiles information from a lot of different sources that I've read about into sort of one fairly concise document. So as far as total calories go, the most successful patients at 1 month were eating less than 835 calories a day. That seems pretty typical from what I've seen. There are some people out there that are only eating about 500 calories in that first month, but most people stay under that 800 calorie mark by the end of month 1. By the end of month 6, the most successful group was keeping under 1100 calories, or I think more precisely 1132. And so they were under that calorie mark at 6 months. And at 12 months, they were keeping their calories below about 1500, 1529 if I'm remembering right, give or take. And that's sort of the path I'm following. Right now at 12 weeks or 3 months, I'm eating between 850 and 1,000 calories a day. And I plan to keep it right there in that zone through the next few months, gradually increasing tiny bits, but keeping it under sort of that mark of 1,100 or so calories, and just gradually increasing over time as I lose the weight. And eventually, right, we need to maintain. If we go on with a calorie deficit forever, right, we're going to waste away. So eating more over time is very natural as you lose the weight. And the thing you do want to avoid, from what I've read in numerous studies, is trying to maintain that super low calorie count for too long, because we do get some hormonal signals from our body that before surgery we get these hormonal signals of starvation, and I do believe that happens post-surgery as well. We do get a boost from surgery. There's some hormonal resets. Our metabolism, we're letting go of fat a lot easier than we were prior to surgery, and it's not just due to the food restriction, it's due to these hormonal signals. But I know when I have tried to go ultra low calorie, my weight loss slows way down or stops. But if I keep that calorie count up and kind of vary it between 800 and 1,000 and really vary what I'm eating, I'm mostly plant-based now. So I do still eat some meat and some eggs, fish, but mostly plant-based. And what I've found over the last several weeks is that has really greatly sped up my weight loss compared to what it was for sort of the middle weeks in my weight loss journey, where things kind of started slowing down. Even though I was eating about the same number of calories, I was eating more meat, more animal products, and less plants. And I've switched that around, and it could be just sort of a confirmation bias. It's hard to say. It may just be my body is ready to let go of that fat now. But overall, I feel better, and I'm starting to lose weight at a slightly more rapid pace than I was for a few weeks. So I feel good about that, so I'm going to keep doing that. But I can't say for certain it's why things have triggered the way they've triggered in the last couple of weeks, but I know how I feel, and I feel really good, so I want to continue that on. Also, this study showed that the macronutrient breakdown of the more successful group was not super low carb. It was not high fat. It was a balance of about less than 50% carbohydrates, which is in no way low carb, right? But the carbohydrates were complex, fibrous carbs: beans, lentils, quinoa, whole grains, low glycemic type foods, greens, leafy vegetables that have good solid cell structures that go a long way through your digestive system, and some things, some fibrous things don't get digested at all. So those end up being calories that aren't really even burnt in your body. So 50%, little less than 50% of their calories were coming from carbohydrates. Less than 28% of their carbohydrates were coming from fat. So when you're looking at like keto, which I think is somewhere between 60 to 80% fat, depending on what source you're talking about, probably not the best diet post-surgery. The other thing is the amount of protein was about more than 25% of your calories should be coming from protein. So again, lean meats and vegetables that are high in protein and things like beans, legumes, quinoa, those kind of things are good protein sources from plants. And so that was the breakdown there. And that's kind of what I've been doing. And it's fairly similar to what my dietitian recommended as far as food goes, is staying away from processed foods. Very minimally processed foods when at all possible. Now, hey, I admit it, I have a protein bar every now and then. That is a processed food. I'll have a protein drink. And, other things, sour cream is processed, but it's minimally processed. There are other foods, that I just try to keep to minimally processed. Or unprocessed whole foods is best from what I have seen and kind of what I've experienced in my own body. So that's what I plan on doing moving forward is good food choices, keeping my calories in those zones. If I go over it sometimes, it's okay. If I'm under it sometimes, it's okay. I don't have to be spot on every single day of the week, all of the time. We are not perfect beings. But if we can strive for perfection, we strive to be perfect. We can strive to be perfect and we can achieve great things in doing so, which is a paraphrase of the great Vince Lombardi, football coach. So we are going to fail sometimes, and that's okay. We get back up and we continue to strive for perfection. And it's that process where we learn and we figure out what works best for us. What works best for me may be different than what works best for you, and that is absolutely okay. But there may be some information that we can share, that we can glean, that helps one another. And that's what I'm trying to do with this channel and documenting my journey. So I really hope that you are doing well. And I hope that you come back and visit again next time. We'll continue to talk on a lot of these topics about calories, micronutrients, and one of my favorite topics recently has been the microbiome. And only about 1% of the genes that are floating around in our body, so to speak, are human. Only 1%. Now, of course, that makes us who we are, but the microbiome has millions and millions and millions of genes inside of our body. The genetic makeup is amazing, and it does so much for you. And so we're going to talk about that in a future video. It is absolutely stunning what those gut bugs can do for you. And that's another focused area on my nutrients and how I eat. And I can't wait to share more information about that because it's absolutely fascinating. So, until then, take care.